Meeting of the Board of Trustees of Tarrant County College. We have a quorum, and the agenda is in front of all of us. The first item on the agenda, is a call to order, and that is what I've done. And are there any public comments? No? None? Okay. I hope all of you have, both of us have read the minutes, which I have. And do I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I second it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are now turning it over to Nathan to talk about the deliberation on audit reports. Nathan? Oh. Okay, I'm sorry. Please state your name and who you are.
Position for the record.
For the record.
My name is Colette Johnson, and I am an senior internal auditor here at Tarrant County College.
Okay.
I'm going to discuss with you the report on faculty credentialing that we did. As you know, faculty
Check your
credentialing
mic,
is required.
please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it on now?
Yes, it is.
Would you want to start over again?
My name is Colette Johnson, and I am the Senior Internal Auditor here at Tarrant County College, and I will be discussing the final report on faculty credentialing. The Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges requires that each institution qualify their faculty for each of the educational programs that they offer. TCC has developed a faculty qualifications chart that meets those requirements. TCC also utilizes Laserfish to manage the faculty credentialing process. Our audit objective was to determine if faculty credentialing was performed in accordance with TCCD policies and procedures. The audit scope covered the spring 22 semester, that is January 1st, 2022 through May 31st of 2022. So we obtained the faculty roster for the spring 22 semester, and we found that 1,815 faculty members taught courses during the semester. We selected a sample of 182 faculty members to review to make sure that they had qualifications to teach the courses that they taught during the semester. And we determined for those 182 faculty members that there was evidence that qualified them to teach the courses that they taught. However, there were some issues that we identified that could be strengthened. We thought that they could strengthen in the way that they documented and justified the qualifications. For example, there were no resumes or employment verifications available for the work that they stated they had. And also, we noted an expired license for one of the faculty members. In April of this year, 2022, the Office of Faculty Affairs was formed, and they have then since done a lot of reviews and assessments to see what the process is. In doing so, they've created an actual manual now that has the processes and procedures, and it also addressed some of the issues that we had identified. And so we recommended that the Office of Faculty Affairs train everyone who is involved in the faculty credentialing process on the manual that they just issued in September, and also to continuously monitor to make sure that we have documentation that justifies faculty members' work experience, academic credentials, licenses, making sure that they're current and up to date. So, any questions?
Is the manual available online?
Yes, it is available online on the
Inside TCC.
Inside TCC on the, I'm trying to think of the page.
Affairs webpage.
There you go. Faculty Affairs webpage.
So Dr. Watley just got started with all of
Is
this,
she the director?
and she
Oh,
is.
that was my next question.
Yes.
Hello.
She is, and we invited her. She's the district director of faculty affairs, And it's been quite a journey to maintain those files. And so you know that we identified errors in the last year that were not either materials were missing or something of that nature. We've been working on it. Now that we have Dr. Watley in place, we're putting even more structure to the work that's being done. And so you may share a little bit about what you are doing moving forward.
And tell us what Laserfish is as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good
So Laserfish is our
I'm
So-
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but please state your name and your
okay.
title for the record. Thank you.
Allison Watley, District Director of Faculty Affairs. And
you.
our office is the Office of Faculty Affairs. There are 5 of us. We, since April of this year, as Dr. LeBlanc has mentioned, we've put a lot of different measures in place in order to ensure that the faculty files are accurate and complete. It is an arduous process to ensure that all files are complete. With regards to the resume, what we did was created an upload link. So now we require, if work experience is part of the job that person is being hired to do, so that rubric that they're qualified to teach based on their degree, based on if there's a certificate required. They also have to upload a resume to show that they have work experience as well. That's appropriate to, obviously, the discipline and the area in which they're teaching, because several rubrics require at least 3 years of non-teaching experience. So we do require that resume to be uploaded. What we're doing at the moment is ensuring that all files that have that work experience requirement have a resume. We really only put that resume link in place as of, I would say, July of this year, July of August. So everyone who was hired after that date had a resume uploaded. But what we're currently doing is our own, we try not to call it an audit because we're not auditors, but we're doing our own internal review of the files, and we're identifying those faculty members who have work experience requirements as part of their rubric, but there's no resume currently. So we are reaching out to the various campuses and their programs to get a copy of that resume. Sometimes the resume is in the HR files, but if the person has been here for 15 years or 20 years, we can't quite guarantee that that document is there. So we're reaching out to get an updated resume for everyone. So that's one task that we're doing to address, obviously, some of the findings. But we also have a new checkbox that the hiring supervisor has to certify that they verified employment. So we're ensuring an extra check to ensure that the person you're hiring to teach, you verify that they actually have the work experience. So we're not just using the resume to review the work experience, but also that there's been some other check to ensure that they have the required work experience. And we're also updating all of the sometimes there's expired certificates or licenses, and that's because depending on the discipline, yearly you have to take an exam to recertify yourself, or sometimes every 3 years or 4 years. So it fluctuates, but we need to ensure that obviously the files remain current with a current expiration date, not an expired one. So that's an ongoing task to ensure that the campuses, are aware that As the faculty member gives you their new license, let's say they've just taken the exam, here's my new license, that they also enter that into the system. So the Laserfish,
Is what
the
this is.
system, and there are multiple systems, but they all sort of converge into Laserfish is where the faculty members, sort of the complete record sits. And we want to make sure that stays current with the correct license or certificate that the person should have, as well as obviously their transcripts and any other documentation that's required based on that discipline or the program.
Well, that's, it seems to me, is this something that SCAD will be looking at too? They missed it, I guess, or
Well, it's, what makes it complicated
it's
is that
complicated?
it involves the campuses, and they have a checklist of all that needs to be turned in and that they need to maintain. The VPAs need to maintain. They keep up with that chart so that it's aligned with the accreditation requirements and so on. It involves so many different stakeholders that we need to ensure, put in writing, which is what she's done, the guidelines that everyone's to follow and make it easy for people to access that information so that moving forward, we will have less of this. It just seems like every 10 years we have this same conversation. So I'm hoping that we're addressing this far earlier than before, and that after the accreditation visit, we will continue to maintain strong files and keep up with all of this. But part of it also is we didn't have this position, and we desperately needed it because it requires a lot of professional development. As new people come in and accept these responsibilities, they need to be taught how to do these things. And we were missing that. Yeah.
And we do have training scheduled for credentialing. And the other piece that our office manages is the contracting of faculty as well. And that's very often tied to the credentialing, because obviously as you hire the person, we need to ensure that they're being paid appropriately and that they're qualified certainly for all that they're doing to serve TCC students. So we're also offering training for the contracting piece as well.
Has she been introduced to the board formally?
No.
Yes, that's
A
right.
few months ago.
Yeah,
You did?
I remember.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. So who has access to the fish? Does the individual faculty person, or is that an
No.
administrative access?
So we don't currently have a system, which we're hoping with Anthology or so, that we have a system where the faculty member can see where they are in a process. Certainly as they're being hired, they can have some insight into the credentialing part. Right now, it would be the hiring supervisor, obviously the vice president of academic affairs. The people who are connected to that person's hire have access to the site.
So we're doing this for new people. Are we also doing this for existing faculty?
Yes, all existing faculty have their information uploaded within the Laserfish system. What our own internal review is doing right now is ensuring that any documents which may have been in the HR repository, because Human Resources keeps their own set of files, and we have Colleague, which has other sets of documents. We're trying to make sure that everything is updated in the same way so that there's a complete file in place. What has happened is sometimes a file may be in one place, but it's not in another section that it needs to be. So we're trying to correct past faculty files as well as ensuring that future faculty files, as people are hired, that is being done according to the processes that we've put in place.
And so have we identified a responsibility for all currently contracted employees to ensure that their files and their credentials are up to date? And has that been shared with every individual contracted person?
The campuses are aware, certainly we communicate often with the vice presidents of academic affairs as well as the deans to let them know, certainly reminding them about updating the licenses and certificates if that's the case for the person. Like I said, ensuring that we have resumes for everyone. And they are then in turn speaking with those faculty if they need to get a license or if they need to get a resume. Or in some cases, people were teaching in rubrics that they weren't quite credentialed for. It wasn't an appropriate match. So in some cases, people are being moved to other rubrics that they're better qualified for. So we are doing a more in-depth check to ensure, even for someone who's been here for 10 years or more, is that person placed in the correct teaching area based on the documents that we have on file for them. Certainly if the person has earned additional graduate credits or other information and they've not shared that transcript with us, that's where we need to get that transcript to ensure that they're being matched to the correct rubric.
So I'm not sure I got the answer I was expecting.
The answer is no,
So,
because it's a thing in progress, as I understand it. Is that
So
what
you're asking about the placement of faculty as they are hired, and we've put structure in place to ensure that that's well aligned. That's another professional development piece that we did not, until recently, we did not have the faculty contracting processes and procedures in writing. And we do now, and it is also on inside TCC. And so that's an important piece because part of the, some of the challenges we had in previous years, faculty did not feel a comfort that they were placed properly.
Right.
And we had to review all those files to ensure that they were, and we corrected that. So it is a continuous professional development piece with the campus personnel that the department chair, the dean, the vice president, they all play a different role in reviewing those credentials and approving those credentials. Where they found things that might not have been in order were probably older files, rather than the newer files where we've put the structure in place. And as you can see, we have over 700 full-time faculty and over 1,000. I've seen as much as 1,700 adjunct. So it is a huge endeavor, and we now have two things in place. We have structure and we have the human resource, because that's the other piece that was missing. We had been in need of someone like Dr. Watley since about 2014.
So thank you, Chancellor, for bringing her on board. Thank you for being here, Dr. Watley. And thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you to the audit staff for bringing this light to the subject and ensuring that we have a broad view of our status. And what I would like to suggest is that every single person has their individual responsibility to ensure that they are properly credentialed for what their duties, current, which may be different from what they were hired for. And Chancellor, I suggest, and this is out of my line of business, but please allow me to suggest that you share that responsibility with every individual person. That it's their responsibility to make sure that they are appropriately credentialed for any assignment that they're given. and that they provide that documentation to the appropriate part of the system. Because the system cannot bear full responsibility for the lack at the individual level. So whatever system needs to be put in place to ensure that every person knows the expectations and knows how to live up to those expectations, I think that would be beneficial, and it should be something that not only would be encouraged and rewarded, but required.
I agree, and I thank you for that support, because it's all about accountability, really, and that's what we need to
And
put
in a
place.
timely manner. You know, I've been through a few accreditations. We've walked through a few of those together.
Yes, ma'am.
And we don't need to be caught unready. So whatever needs to happen beginning now to get us ready, it is a 100% duty of beginning with the board, the chancellor, and all the way to the appropriate employees to make sure we're ready. So,
Well,
thank you for the
thank you
effort
for
you've
that.
taken.
Absolutely, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question. I'm sorry I was a little late. I do have a question.
You may join us.
I didn't want to interrupt. Excuse me. How are you?
Fine.
I just wanted, hi there. Thank you. I'm so
Hello.
sorry. I just wanted to ask, and you may have mentioned this before. I'm Teresa.
Excuse
Ayala.
me,
Yes,
for the record.
yes.
What is your
Would you
name?
identify yourself?
Yes, I'm Teresa Ayala.
And your position?
In my position, I'm the chair of the board. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Thank you all for being here. I apologize. I was coming from somewhere else. But I wanted to ask, and you may have touched on this, but do we have something in mind as to what the framework is going to look like? Is this going to become part of the ERP system at some point? Okay. And if you've talked about it, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure
Not
that.
fully.
Okay.
Right now, we have multiple systems we have to go to in order to ensure someone is credentialed. The hope with the ERP is that we will have more of a consolidated system where
Bravo.
it'll be much easier for us to input all of the credentials and to keep it updated. It would be lovely to have an alert system, so if someone's certificate or license is coming to be expired, excuse me, that we get an alert letting us know that this is going to be expired, this person needs to renew their license. Wouldn't that be nice? Right now, we manually have to check. Or if someone was working under, let's say they were hired under an alternative justification form, that it alerts us each year or at the time period where that person, let's say 12 months has gone by or so, to let us know, okay, this needs to be renewed, let us recheck that person's credential to ensure. But right now, again, so many of the processes are manual because we don't have a system that can.
So the intent is that we'll have a central repository for all of these.
That would be a lovely,
Right. And
lovely
then-
thing. Yes.
I think if you could identify some of those things that might be helpful, I don't know if those are things we could potentially share with, with Ms. Alanis as she's working with the anthology team.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it will happen, but certainly if there's some things that we need,
Of course
thank
it'll
you,
happen.
made available, we'd like to at least consider those now as we're going through this.
We
So-
shared a workflow
Great.
for credentialing
Perfect.
already with the ERP team.
Okay.
And we meet every 2 weeks with our academic affairs representative, who
Right.
is part of the ERP team.
Good.
So we're ensuring, because the last thing we want is to end up losing faculty files in any
Certainly.
way
Right.
because of a conversion to a new system. So we want to make sure that everything is
Thank
compatible.
you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
So,
Oop.
I'm sorry, just one other comment. It would be nice, no, with what we're doing now, it needs to happen. This is I use this for everything. I got this from some of my young people. This is 2022. All systems need to be metaverse, if I can use that. So I'm just saying that 80% of our budget is on personnel. And although when we come to these meetings, we mostly talk about investments and building funds, et cetera, but the whole strength of our organization is in our people, and we have to put the necessary tools in place to make sure that we're properly documenting that. And we cannot make excuses and apologize to people who've been here for a while or people who come about what our needs are in order for them to be a part of us, because that's essential. So, thank you. Thank you for this work, all of you, each and every one of you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the Board of Trustees expenses, I believe.
Yes, sir. My name is Nathan First. I'm the Director of Internal Audit here at Tarrant County College. The Internal Audit Department, did a Board of Trustees audit. It was performed as an annual audit of the Board of Trustees expenses in accordance with the fiscal year 2022 audit plan. The audit objective was to determine if the board expenses were in compliance with district policies and procedures. The audit scope covered the period of September 1st of 2021 through August 31st of 2022. We determined the board expenses were in compliance with the district policies and procedures. We determined that board expenses totaled $22,105 during our audit period. Specifically, we determined travel expenses totaled $10,221, operating expenses totaled $11,884. We conducted 100% review of all the board-related travel and operating expenses to determine if the expenses were reasonable in carrying out the board-related business. We did not identify any issues. Any questions or comments?
Thank you.
No problem. The next item here is the fiscal year 2023 audit plan. If you turn to page 2 of it, the annual audit plan is a guide developed for the utilization of the internal audit resources during the fiscal year to address the risk at Tarrant County College District. The audit plan is a document that may change during the fiscal year as circumstances change. The fiscal year 2023 audit plan covers the period of September 1st of 2022 through August 31st of 2023. The audit plan is designed to provide coverage of key businesses processed during the given fiscal year. We, internal audit, considered and weighted with a chart high, medium, and low the following risk factors, as you see the 10 bullets there. And basically, once those risk factors were weighted on page 3 of 3, we determined 4 audit projects that we had planned for approval for fiscal year 2023. The first audit is the faculty evaluations. Our description, our purpose is to review faculty evaluations to determine if evaluations were completed. The reason we selected that, there's a lot of faculty, specifically adjunct in the past that based on audits investigation, we did identify faculty's evaluations were not completed. So there's some internal control weaknesses there that's been in the past that we feel like we need to revisit that. Especially it addresses in our accreditation standards that we need to have a process, not only a process, but also a monitoring process, ensure faculty evaluations are being done. The second project that we're looking at is the Carl D. Perkins grant. We got with the grants department. They did provide us, that was over $1 million spent recently over in that Carl D. Perkins. We want to review those expenses to determine compliance, so making sure they were eligible and allowed expenses. The third item we want to look at.
Wait, just a minute.
I'm sorry.
Will you tell the audience what the Carl D. Perkins grant is?
Yes.
It's a technology grant. Yeah, go ahead.
Correct. Yeah, my understanding, the Perkins grant is a technology related, is a grant that is given to institutions of higher education. We do want to look at that. It gets awarded in different phases. So my understanding that it was over $1 million awarded over, I believe, a 2 or 3 year period. So we want to make sure that those grant funds were used for allowable purposes.
Will you tell us a little bit about?
Okay, so this is Elva LeBlanc.
Okay.
No worries.
So the Carl Perkins dollars are federal dollars.
Right.
And they're meant to be spent on technical programs. And what's important is that the college, not spend any of the money on non-technical programs. They all need to be technical. be that we don't return too much money. Even these last couple of years, especially with the logistics of getting whatever you purchase on time, has been a challenge, to where things were ordered and 6 months later we still didn't have them, and so we needed to return that money. And then to ensure that we are following the rules that are set by the federal government, and they're monitored by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. So it's a big deal, and it does cover a lot of different categories. This year, the categories and the metrics have changed, so we've had to do an incredible amount of work to prepare even for submission of the grant proposal, and it's all been accepted, and so far we've done well. So we're excited about the audit. I think it'll be a good thing for us to go through. Yes, thank you.
And the third item we plan to look at is the student club accounts. We want to review student club revenue to determine compliance. Specifically, we selected the student club accounts. We did have issues, internal controls in the past. Currently, we're conducting an investigation where we're identifying issues with student clubs raising funds through fundraiser, either not depositing an appropriate student club account at TCC. So there's areas of concerns that we want to look at it at a district-wide systematically. And the fourth item we want to review is the Board of Trustees expenses, which we audit every year. Any questions or comments on?
I just wanted to bring to the committee's, everyone's attention that at any time, if we see something that ought to be looked at by the internal auditor, we can suggest it. And so I encourage you, if there is something that any member of the board or is concerned about, to bring it to the committee's attention.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yes, it does. Mr. Chair, I have just a quick question, if that's okay, please.
Point of order. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Teresa Ayala. Nathan, just wanted to ask if there are, and you may have already addressed this, but are there any particular audits that we need to be looking at prior to, our audit accreditation next year that we may want to consider or add to this list? And again, you may have already addressed it. If you have, I apologize.
No, ma'am. That's a good question. Yeah, the reason we chose to answer your question, that's the reason we kind of circle back to faculty evaluation.
Okay.
Because faculty evaluation is what we identified. We did an audit a couple of years ago, an investigation. So we found some internal control weakness, and obviously that's tied to the accreditation process. And that's one of the biggest reasons we did faculty credentialing too. So that way we kind of give the district a heads up, get the process cleaned up before the accreditation folks get here. Yes, ma'am.
You can just make sure that there's nothing else, Dr. LeBlanc, that we may have overlooked, and make sure we've just checked it twice. That's all I'm thinking. We check our list twice.
No, absolutely. So we do have, we worked on the faculty framework for about 3 years, and that has served as a foundation for a lot of things, policy and others. But among the many things is a faculty evaluation. So we had a team last year working on faculty evaluation, updating what was initiated about 40 years ago. Okay. And so it'll be a better instrument. The teams are going out to the campuses to give presentations to the faculty to ensure that the faculty's questions are answered, and then processes are being put in place to make it happen. The existing evaluation, because it was created 40 years ago when we had half the number of faculty we have today, it was all paper and pencil and very cumbersome. That got transitioned to online, and the online has not gone as well as we would like, because unless a student has a major complaint, they're not going to submit that, and then often they wait till after the semester's over it's not been a well-oiled machine. So I'm glad you're including that. That would be good, yeah.
Thank you.
So that's an important point, excuse me. Yes. Because so you're talking about student input or student evaluation.
And also faculty, yeah.
And administrative. I
Yes.
think that needs to be delineated, that both will be a part of the study.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's right, there's the evaluation of the faculty member by administration.
That's,
And then the
is that an
student
annual
evaluation.
requirement?
Those vary, so the first 3 years that a faculty member is employed, they're supposed to be evaluated every year. After that, they're evaluated periodically, like every other year, but that's all in
In the guidelines.
the guidelines, yeah.
That's good. But every semester, an enrolled student has the opportunity to evaluate their faculty person
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
classes they're enrolled in.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think that's important. But that, I would appreciate that being noted, that this involves both evaluations. I think that's an important piece.
Faculty itself and then the feedback.
The student input, yes.
Any other questions or comments on the audit plan?
And obviously, Nathan, a big part of your audit process, when you identify things that need attention, is then working with the appropriate people so that they can provide the professional development to appropriate staff and helping Dr. LeBlanc identify specifically what she needs to target in professional development. I think that's a very important role. I had one child who would always say, "Tell me what I need to do before I get in trouble. Don't wait till I get in trouble." So I think that's important.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other business? Do we have a?
I have one more report.
Oh, you have
actually.
another
Yes.
report. Well,
So actually, on the audit plan, I guess that's the one I do need formal approval.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
I'm,
for that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
if you're so inclined to accept the motion, I
I
would move to-
accept it. All in favor, say aye.
how to adopt the fiscal year 2023 audit plan as presented by the audit team.
Okay, and tell me what the protocol is. Would this be on the agenda
It'll-
for a meeting, and we accept it to do? Carol?
It's not on this.
It's not, is this, we've accepted this plan. Do we need to have it approved by the board formally, or just,
I think in the past, what you've done is to provide it to the board as something that the audit committee has approved.
Yeah, a
And
report.
the board accepted it, but I'm not entirely certain there's ever an actual vote.
I think we did, I think that is right. Y'all would just make the recommendation and for us to accept it as.
okay, yeah, I just want to make sure, so I'll be ready at the meeting. Thank you.
So not this meeting, but the November board agenda, correct? Thank you.
Do we have a closed session? No closed session?
He has one more
I have one
item.
more, sir.
Oh, you got one more
Yes,
item.
sir.
I
Yes,
keep
sir.
trying.
No worries, no worries. The last item report we have is our fiscal year 2022 internal audit annual report. This is a report required by the Texas State Auditor's Office. It's broken up into 7 sections on page 1 of 8, lays out the different sections. Basically, section 1 is the compliance with the Texas Government Code, specifically section 2102.015, how we plan to have the audit plan approved, and also the annual internal audit, prepare the annual internal audit annual report and provide it to the Texas State Auditor's Office. Section 2 lays out the audit plan for fiscal year 2022. And the page 4 of it lays out the internal control weaknesses that we found in our fiscal year 2022 audit plan, specifically like the purchasing card finding we identified, the faculty credentialing, internal control that we just discussed earlier today that we identified. Section 3 talks about the consulting services and non-audit services completed by the internal audit department, that we do provide guidance to TCC employees to ensure the risk of non-compliance is minimized. Section 4 goes over the external quality assurance review, which is our internal audit peer review. We provide a copy of that right after page 5 to the Texas State Auditor's Office in this report. Page 6 is section 5. It's the internal audit plan for fiscal year 2023, which we just discussed, which shows on page 7 those 4 audits that you all, the Audit and Finance Committee, just approved: the faculty evaluation, Carl D. Perkins Student Club, and Board of Trustees expenses. And the last section, section 6, is the external audit services procured in fiscal year 2022, which there was none. TCC does have a contract with Weaver to conduct the annual audit of the comprehensive annual financial report. And section 7 talks about TCC process that we have as far as internal audit and TCC of reporting suspected fraud and abuse. Is there any questions or comments in regards to the internal audit annual report that gets submitted to the Texas State Auditor's Office?
No, I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said you didn't contract in 2022. Do you anticipate that you might need to contract?
No, ma'am. We don't. No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need to take any formal action in regard to this report?
I just recommend approval of it, so before.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's approved.
All right.
And since there is no executive session, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.